On the evening of October 21st, 1978, a 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentich took off from Moorabbin Airport in Melbourne, Australia. His destination was King Island, a small strip of land across the Bass Strait. The flight was routine. The weather was clear. He was flying a Cessna 182, a light single-engine plane that pilots train on. He never arrived. What makes this disappearance different from every other missing aircraft case is what happened in the 11 minutes before he vanished. Frederick Valentich radioed air traffic control, and what he described in calm, measured language over an open frequency that was being recorded was something no one has ever been able to explain. Frederick Valentich was a young man with a singular obsession. He wanted to fly. He had applied twice to the Royal Australian Air Force and been rejected both times. His academic results weren't strong enough, but he kept at it. He held a private pilot's license, had logged around 150 hours of flight time, and was working toward a commercial license. He was also, by multiple accounts, deeply interested in UFOs. He read about them. He believed in them. His father later said Frederick was convinced extraterrestrial craft visited Earth and that it was only a matter of time before one was encountered. On October 21st, he filed a flight plan for King Island to pick up crayfish for friends. He departed at 6:19 p.m. Sunset had already passed. The sky over the Bass Strait was darkening. He was alone. At 7:06 p.m., Frederick Valentich contacted Melbourne Air Traffic Control and asked a simple question. Was there any known traffic in his area below 5,000 feet? The controller checked. No, there was no other aircraft. Valentich then reported something that stopped the controller cold. He said there was an aircraft above him. It was moving fast. It had 4 bright landing lights. It was passing over him, and it wasn't in any database. No flight plan, no transponder, nothing. The controller asked him to confirm, was it a military aircraft? Valentich said he couldn't identify it. He said it was orbiting above him. Then he said something that has haunted aviation investigators for nearly 50 years. It's not an aircraft. Over the next several minutes, Valentich described the object hovering, approaching, vanishing, reappearing. He said his engine was running rough. He reported problems with his instruments. He said the thing was hovering on top of him, and it was not an aircraft. Then, at 7:12 p.m., there was a long metallic scraping sound on the recording, and the transmission ended. Frederick Valentich and his Cessna were never found. A search and rescue operation was launched immediately. Aircraft and ships combed the Bass Strait. They found nothing. No wreckage, no fuel slick, no debris, no body, no trace of the plane or the man inside it. The Bass Strait is not deep by oceanic standards, averaging around 50 to 70 meters in most areas. A crashed Cessna should have been findable. It wasn't. The Australian Department of Transport investigated. They examined the recordings, the radar data, the weather reports, and the flight records. Their official conclusion, issued after an exhaustive review, the cause of the disappearance could not be determined. They specifically noted that no explanation could account for all of the facts. The file remains open. The explanations proposed over the decades fall into several camps, and none of them is fully satisfying. The most straightforward is spatial disorientation. Flying at night over water, a pilot can lose all sense of which way is up. With no horizon and failing instruments, a pilot can enter a spiral dive without ever realizing it. But this theory doesn't explain what Valentich was describing. His transmissions were coherent, calm, and detailed. He wasn't panicking. He was reporting. Pilots in spatial disorientation don't typically give measured descriptions of external objects over the radio. Another theory is that Valentich staged his own disappearance. He was young, had debts, and some have suggested he fabricated the encounter. But no evidence of this was ever found. No new identity, no sightings, no money trail. Then there are the UFO theories. Multiple witnesses on the ground that evening reported seeing unusual lights over the Bass Strait. One group reported a green light moving erratically near a small aircraft. A farmer reported something low over a field. These reports were never conclusively linked to Valentich, but they exist, and they are documented. The most unsettling piece of evidence is the recording itself. The full transcript of Valentich's final transmissions has been analyzed by aviation experts, linguists, and independent researchers for decades. His voice shows no signs of deception. His descriptions are specific and consistent. He was not slurring, panicking, or confused. The metallic scraping sound at the end of the recording has been analyzed and never matched to any known aircraft noise, equipment failure, or interference pattern. It is unidentified. The controller who took the call later said the transmission was like nothing he had ever encountered in his career. He believed Valentich was telling the truth about what he saw. What that truth was, he couldn't say. Frederick Valentich has now been missing for nearly half a century. His father, Guido Valentich, spent years searching for answers. He believed his son was taken, not crashed, taken. He died without an explanation. The Bass Strait has been surveyed repeatedly. New sonar technology has been used. Nothing matching a Cessna 182 has ever been found on the seafloor. The questions that remain are the same ones investigators had in 1978. What was the object Valentich described? Why can't it be identified? Where is the aircraft? Where is the body? What made that sound? Australia's Civil Aviation Safety Authority has never closed the file. The recording still exists. You can listen to it. A young man's voice, calm and professional, describing something above him that he cannot identify. And then the sound, and then silence. Frederick Valentich was 20 years old. He wanted to fly, and he did. He wanted to see something extraordinary, and by every account, on the evening of October 21st, 1978, he did. Whatever was in the sky above the Bass Strait that night, it left no evidence, no wreckage, and no answers. Just a recording, and a silence that has lasted 50 years. If unexplained disappearances, unsolved mysteries, and the cases that defy explanation are what you're looking for, subscribe to the Unsolved Ledger. A new episode drops every week.